It's early morning on the Oregon Trail. The prairie awakens in a hush with soft light spilling across the grasslands. The sky, fading from deep blue to gentle pink, reveals a world just beginning to stir. Dew glistens on every blade of grass, and the first chirps of meadowlarks echo faintly in the stillness. Around a loose circle of wagons, life begins gradually. Canvas flaps rustle and muffled voices break the silence. A mother gently wakes her children, her whispers barely louder than the morning breeze. A father steps out, stretching in the dawn, then heads toward a cold fire pit. Kneeling, he breathes life into the embers and feeds them twigs. Smoke curls skyward as the flames catch. A woman in a calico dress wraps a shawl around her shoulders and sets a small pot near the fire, beans and pork from the night before. The scent mixes with the cool air. Children appear wrapped in quilts. One boy clutches a tin cup, another watches the sunrise. Their quiet movements blend with the sounds of the waking prairie. The oxen rise slowly. A teenage boy leads two to a nearby stream. They plod forward, snorting softly as mist rises from their backs. At camp, a father checks wagon wheels. Leather straps creak as he tightens them. Tools are quietly inventoried. An axe, a wrapped rifle, a barrel of flour. The morning unfolds unhurriedly. There are no clocks here, only sunlight and routine. Boys fetch wood. Girls gather buffalo chips. Bedrolls are folded. Supplies are secured. Breakfast is sparse. Cornmeal mush, hardtack, a few sips of coffee. Some eat in silence. Others share soft talk of dreams and distant hopes. A toddler chases a grasshopper near the camp's edge. Her laughter rings out and fades gently. With the sun now fully risen and the mist lifting, the prairie stretches wide and open before them. The leader calls out in a calm, practiced voice, 10 minutes till we roll. Fires are doused, utensils packed, wagons readied. A boy climbs to the driver's bench as his father settles beside him. Slowly the line begins to move. And so begins another quiet day on the Oregon Trail. Walking beside the wagons move at a slow, deliberate pace across the wide prairie. Wooden wheels groan softly over the uneven earth, and oxen plod forward with the rhythm of seasoned endurance. Dust rises behind them, curling in the morning sun and settling into the hems of skirts and the folds of bonnets. Most of the travelers walk beside the wagons. The path is too rough for constant riding, and the animals must be spared whenever possible. Men lead oxen by worn leather reins, their steps steady and silent. Women walk with quiet resolve, their eyes fixed ahead, sunbonnets shielding them from the growing brightness. The children chatter in low voices, some holding hands, others skipping in brief bursts before falling back into step. There's a calm simplicity in the journey. One foot in front of the other. The same view for hours. The same steady sounds. Boots on soil, the creak of wood, the occasional snort from an ox. A father hums a tune under his breath. A mother counts steps to pass the time. Occasionally, a bird circles overhead or a field mouse darts through the grasses. These small signs of life break the monotony and bring faint smiles to weary faces. Someone spots a jackrabbit bounding in the distance. A young girl carries a feather she found at the last rest stop. The line of wagons moves like a slow river, bending with the land's contours. Ahead, a shallow rise offers a better view. The group pauses. They rest briefly, sipping water from tin canteens, checking straps, adjusting sun hats. A boy lingers near the back of the line, tracing his fingers through tall grass. He finds a rock shaped like an arrowhead and shows it to his sister. She holds it carefully as if it were a treasure. The wagon master, calm and composed, walks the length of the train checking on families. He speaks with a gentle voice, asks if anyone needs rest or water. He offers a word of encouragement to an older man whose limp has slowed his step. The trail ahead is long and empty, stretching toward a hazy horizon. But no one complains. There is a shared understanding here, of patience, endurance, and the steady pace of life on the trail. By mid-morning, the sun is higher and shadows are short. Travelers begin looking for a shaded place to rest. A grove of cottonwoods appears in the distance, and quiet relief passes through the group. They will stop soon, but for now they walk on. And the wagons continue their slow journey west. Midday break by a stream. The midday sun stands high overhead, casting light that bleaches the prairie in shades of gold and silver. heat shimmers on the horizon and every step begins to feel heavier, more deliberate. A grove of cottonwoods offers sanctuary. Beneath the rustling leaves, a shallow stream curves lazily through the land, its banks scattered with smooth stones and patches of wild mint. The wagons draw into a semicircle as if instinctively forming a protective cocoon. The sound of harnesses loosening and wagon wheels grinding to a halt signals the temporary reprieve. The animals are unhitched and led to the water. Their massive shoulders ripple as they drink deeply, hooves stirring up the silt as they step forward. Men stretch their backs, arms akimbo, wiping sweat from brows with worn kerchiefs. Women lower buckets into the stream, filling them with clear water for washing and cooking. The children splash along the edges, laughing softly, mindful not to stray too far. Their feet send ripples across the surface, and dragonflies skim close, flashing in the light. Blankets are laid on the shaded ground. Shoes are kicked off. Bread is passed around. A mother slices cold salted pork with a steady hand while her daughter places pieces onto tin plates. A father opens a worn leather journal and scribbles a few quiet words. The smell of damp earth and mint hangs in the air. There is little talking, only murmurs and the occasional chuckle. A shared sense of reverence has settled over the group. Some nap with hats pulled low. Others sew or mend a torn hem. One man sharpens his knife slowly, methodically, with strokes that match the rhythm of crickets in the grass. A young boy collects smooth stones, arranging them in a careful circle before beginning again. A girl reads a tattered book aloud to her younger brother, her voice a soft and even murmur. The words, barely audible, drift into the leaves overhead. Nearby, a younger kid sits together with their feet in the stream. They don't speak much. They simply playfully watch the current pass. Time loses its hold. The sun stands still. Shadows ripple, but they do not race. Even the wind seems to slow here. Eventually, the wagon master gives a quiet nod. It's time. Water buckets are emptied. Crumbs are brushed from laps. Animals are rehitched. Blankets folded. Conversations, if they ever fully began, gently end. The stream continues its quiet journey across the prairie. And now so must they. Resuming the trail. The heat of the day is heavy now. It presses on the shoulders of the travelers like a thick wool blanket, urging silence and stillness. Yet the wagons roll on. The creaking of wheels and the soft grunt of oxen return, now steadier, more rhythmic. Dust once again rises beneath weary feet. The trail ahead is long and the sun rests high above, unrelenting and bright. There is little conversation. Most walk with heads lowered, wide-brimmed hats and bonnets shielding faces. Eyes scan the trail or simply watch the feet in front of them. A woman hums a hymn, quiet and slow. The words are barely audible but enough to offer a comfort known only to those who've sung them through struggle. Occasionally, a wagon groans louder than the rest. A driver gently reins in the oxen, stepping down to check a wheel or tighten a strap. Others pause, offering water or a moment of shade while adjustments are made. The land begins to change slightly. What was flat becomes a gentle incline. Prairie grasses grow shorter, sparser. The horizon now reveals rockier soil, clusters of dry shrubs and a wider sky. Wind tugs at hats and shawls, bringing the faint scent of dry sage and far-off hills. Children, too tired to chase or chatter, hold their parents' hands or rest on the rear bumpers of the wagons. A boy, no more than 6, dozes on a bedroll rocked softly by the wagon's slow sway. His sister walks beside him, occasionally reaching up to check that he is still covered from the sun. The hours stretch. The wagons inch forward. Time is measured not by a clock, but by the changing shadows of the wheels and the sun's gradual arc across the sky. A small hill comes into view. The trail curves around it, and at its base, a scattering of trees offers a whisper of relief. The wagon master raises a hand. They will break again soon. But for now the journey continues, quiet, steady, and always westward. Evening campfire and reflections. The sun dips low on the horizon, casting long shadows over the prairie. Its golden light softens the landscape, bathing the distant hills in swaying grass in hues of amber and rose. The heat of the day begins to lift, replaced by a gentle coolness that settles slowly over the travelers like a blanket. One by one, the wagons roll to a stop in a wide, open space near a line of small trees. The oxen, dusty and tired, are unhitched and led to water. Their heavy breath clouds the evening air as they lower their heads and drink in silence. Camp is made with unspoken rhythm. Wheels are chalked. Campfires are kindled. Cooking pots clink softly. Children, no longer lively but not yet sleepy, gather dry twigs and watch the flames grow. Smoke drifts upward in lazy spirals, blending with the cool dusk. A mother stirs a pot of beans over the fire while her youngest cradles a doll made of rags and string. A father slices cornbread into thick, crumbling wedges and passes them around on a wooden board. The meal is simple, filling, and quiet. No one hurries. As darkness falls, a stillness begins to settle. The prairie quiets. Insects hum and click in the grass, and a night bird calls from far away. Children's laughter fades. Their play slows to hushed storytelling and gazing into the dancing flames. Families sit close together on blankets and wooden boxes. A fiddle emerges from one wagon and a soft tune rises, slow and sentimental. It is not a performance, just a whisper of music to close the day. A few hum along. A man taps his foot gently. A young girl leans against her mother's shoulder and closes her eyes. Farther from the fire, a man gazes upward at the sky. Stars begin to appear. First one, then a few, then dozens. Out here, with no lanterns or buildings to dim them, the sky opens wide. The Milky Way unfurls like a soft veil. A shooting star draws a faint gasp from those watching. Journals are opened. Words written by flickering firelight. Notes about the land, the weather, a wagon's broken wheel, a child's laughter, a sore ankle. There's no rush to record, only a need to remember. Near the edge of the camp, a pair of older travelers sit quietly, hands folded in their laps. They speak of old homes, of gardens and porches, and of the mountains yet unseen. Their voices are soft, carried only to one another. A prayer is spoken aloud, not loudly but clearly. Gratitude for the day, hope for the next, a moment of shared stillness. Bedrolls are laid out under wagons or against trees. A mother tucks a quilt up to her son's chin, brushing hair from his forehead. A father checks one last strap on the wagon before removing his boots and lowering himself onto a folded blanket. The fire burns lower now. Embers glow like warm stars scattered across the ground. Conversations fade. Sleep settles in. Crickets sing. The wind moves gently. And above it all, the stars watch silently. This day, like so many others before it, ends not with fanfare, but with the simple beauty of rest. The trail waits for tomorrow. But tonight, the Oregon sky holds them all in its quiet arms.